Hello and welcome to the Forest Fellowship. Right, in this video we will talk about how to play. So we will start with the first action, the setup. All right, so this is a setup for 2 players because we are using one deck, and this deck is 54 cards. All right, so you can find also in the deck the quick rule book is printed in 3 different languages. To start to do the setup, the first action that every player must do is pick your main characters. In this case, I will use the ferrets. So these cute little ferrets will be my main characters. All right. You must pick between ferrets, foxes, raccoons, etc. 6 different pairs of animals. All right. So every pair has 1 lumberjack and 1 picker. So the first action to do the setup, every player must have a couple of lumberjack and a picker of the same kind of animal. And also must have 1 carpenter, like this one. All right, the beaver. So once every player has their 3 cards, you can see there, player 1, that's his zone, and player 2 is there. And then we separate all the forest, like the wood, the logs, cards, and all the bushes with berries. All right. So you separate those cards, you shuffle them, and randomly place it like that in like making a big square face up. All right, because they are the outer forest. And once you have the outer forest ready, you can start to mix all the other cards and shuffle them randomly and place them face down in the center. All the other cards of the deck. All right. There is some little exceptions if you play in with 3 or 5 players, because the mathematics, whatever, you will find that little rule, extra rule in the rule book. All right. But in a normal 2-player game, you will mix all the other cards together. And then, except the up card deck down there, you can see the up card deck. That cards are different, really different. You can see the difference here. This is wood and this is food. All right. So this will we use later. I will show you how to use it, how to use them. All right. But you must separate them and create the up card deck down there, face down, shuffle. All right. So you have your outer forest with all the logs and berries, and you have the inner forest ready with all the face down cards. Inside the inner forest, you will find objects like this one, the wheelbarrow. The wheelbarrow will help you to collect some low value resources. All right. And then you can find maybe some help, like a fellow neighbor. You can recognize them because they have a big number here. This is their strength value. All right. The strength points, for example. And also you can find maybe some help, extra help to collect. So this guy could be a main character, but when you find them inside of the inner forest, they turn into helpers. So now you can find a fellow neighbor with a strength value, or a helper. Could be a lumberjack or a picker, like this one. All right. We will talk about them later. And also you can find inside of the forest your perfect place. The perfect place is you need one to reach your goal. All right. So that's about the inner forest. Now we can go to the game. Let's start to play. All right. We will have our main characters like this, and the carpenter. And now, as you can see here in the picture down there, I will start with my picker. In this case, because I find 4 of berries that I can take. So I use my picker. When you have one of these alone or one of these, they can collect resources up to 6. The value of that resource could be up to 6. If you want to collect another resource up that number, you will need 2 pickers in this case or 2 lumberjacks. Every resource card said in these little icons how many lumberjacks in this case you need to collect them. Or up or in a 3 you can see you just need 1. So your main character is okay. But to collect an 8 or a 9 of berries, you will need your main character plus a helper. All right? Whoosh. So I will start with my picker. All right? The game is super easy. It only has like 3 different type of actions that you can do with your main characters. All right? So one is take. We will see here. The second is explore. And the third one is talk. We will review every one of those actions. This action is take. You can take, as I said, any card value of 6 or less when you have only one picker or lumberjack. All right? So the game starts. Once you take your first card, you will enter the forest. All right? Because you will place your main character in the empty space that the resource leave. All right? And then you take that card and move it to your laydown area. So you will be in the forest once you take the card. Once you enter the forest, you can go out. So you must explore and gather stuff to move inside of the forest. And this is the second action, explore. As I said, when you enter the forest, you can start to explore. You can move to any adjacent spot, all right? So it's like 1, 2, 3, attack, and 1, 2, 3 down there. Around your card. All the cards around your card, you can say, oh, I want to explore this one or the other one, etc. So now I'm in the inner forest exploring, all right, with my little picker, and I found a wheelbarrow. So the wheelbarrow is will help me to collect this food and 1 wood value 4 or less. All right. So, but the good thing about explore is that you activate your main character, in this case this one, and you say, all right, I'm going to explore that card that is face down. All right. So when you explore, you have different options. For example, if you find a card like this one, you can take it and use it immediately. If you don't use it, you lose it, the power. All right. And this card, you can move it to your laydown area. So you can count later all the points and etc. And also, you can find another type of card, like the perfect place. In this case, perfect places are those you need to build your home. So you need 1, at least. Well, actually, you can only have 1 in your laydown area. When you find this card, you can move it to your to your laydown area. And if you find another one later in the game, you can't take it. So you must leave it there. But every time you find a perfect place, you can actually activate your carpenter. So when you activate your carpenter, this guy can go to any place in the forest. You can place him everywhere you want, anywhere. So what's the deal with this guy? He gives you like a second turn, all right, in the same turn. So when you find a perfect place, you activate your carpenter, you move it from your laydown area, the carpenter, to the forest, and place him next maybe to a helper like this one, or to a fellow neighbor like this one. So you can talk with them using the carpenter. That is an extra action. So That's about the exploring action. Now we will talk about talk. Talk is what happens when you find whoops, a fellow neighbor or a helper. So when you find any of these kind of characters in the forest, you can talk with them. The difference is when you find a helper, could be a picker or a lumberjack, these guys will go with your own main character. If you get the help from them, these guys will go down your main character card. So now you will have two pickers, for example, or you can have your main character is a lumberjack plus a picker. So this guy, when it's moved, he can take now wood cards or food cards and pick berries. Or if it's the same, whoosh, you can have now bigger cards, as I said, for example, a big card like a 9 that need two pickers. So, what's the deal with the talk? The difference is between talk and just explore is that when you find one of these guys, you must take a decision. You can choose to talk with them if you have the resources to give them back for their help. It's like a transaction, it's like a trade. So if you don't have, for example, resources value 5 or more, it's better if you don't talk. All right. So if you don't want to talk, you can take any card that you are allowed around this one, so around your main character. You will see that in the rule book. So when you are playing with this, you can say, all right, I have resources, so I can talk with him or she. And then, as you can see down there, you will use the up card deck. You will find one of these cards. So you go to the up card deck, you reveal the first card, and that is the kind of resource that your helper or fellow neighbor will need. When you talk with a fellow neighbor, in this case, you will reveal one card from the up card deck, like this one. In this case, you will need to give them berries or food. So you must give, in this case, because it's a fellow neighbor, a food value of 5 or more. If I don't have 5 exact berries, I can give them a 9, for example. Of course, you don't want to give a 9 because you lose 9. You lose, well, actually 4. But that's the rule. If you want the help of this guy, you must give them 5 or more. All right? But if you find a helper, like for example, this guy, if you find this guy, you can give him, when you reveal the up card deck card, you reveal, for example, food. In this case, you don't need to give him a special number. It could be any number. So if you have a low 3, you can give a 3. Or if you have a 9, you can give them the 9. And that's the talk. If you have the resource, you leave the resource in the table. And if you don't have the resource, your turn ends in that point. All right. But if you have the resource, you take the card to your laid-on area, or if it's a helper, like this one, goes under your main character. You choose which main character. One little thing is that you can't have more than 2 helpers under each main character. So, for example, this is a picker and a lumberjack helper, and they are all the helpers that this guy can have. All right. You can have more than 2 helpers under the main character. So if you find another helper in the forest, you just leave it there. If you already have 2 helpers under each of one, under your picker or your lumberjack. All right. So that's it. about the take action. And as I said, that's all the actions that you will do. So it's really quick and easy to learn. You just need to know how to take a card and when. You just learn how to explore and how to talk. 3 actions. And now we can talk about what you can find in the forest. Here, up there, you can see the perfect place that I show you, the food, the wood. You can see the little icons that say how many pickers or lumberjacks you need, the helpers, and the fellow neighbors, and the wheelbarrows. So that's all the type of cards that you can find inside of the inner forest, or the forest in general. And now, who wins? This guy wins. The first player who have in their laydown area 15 of food, 20 of wood, 50 strength points, and a perfect place. Down there, here, you can find an example, a proposal of a laydown area. It's an imaginary area. It's like the player's zone. So I always recommend that kind of setup for your laydown area. I always recommend to pile the cards like this, and then if you take another one, you can place like this, so you can always see the numbers, because the first players who get 15 of food and 20 of wood and 50 point blah 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 will win. So you must always take care of how many points you have. And now here you can see down there that you can have only one perfect place. And if you find another one, leave it in the place. But always you can activate your carpenter every time you find a perfect place. So your first perfect place or your second, you can activate. And also you can have maybe more than one wheelbarrow. We will see in the final rule book. Yeah, and that's it. And that's the game, actually. So thank you if you are watching until this point. This is how you play Forest Fellowship. See you in the forest. Thank you.